we are, Charles.
I know, in front of your favorite Red Lobster.
That's not my favorite.
Oh, you have a favorite Red Lobster?
I mean, Red Lobster is not my favorite.
Incredibly overpriced.
Well, but the thing is, I was going to tell you that we are just a week away from the month in which the unhinged left wants us to acknowledge the proud, overweight individuals who strip down to their underpants, hang their genitals out, and want to strew garbage all over this city, but they get pissed off when there's even one day of celebrating pride of this country on July 4th.
It's amazing.
And also, Charles, in the interest of Kaizen, I think everybody knows who was watching on Sunday that the show is now almost 5 pounds lighter. I'm using this new sound recorder, and I was going to republish, Porsche Taycan. I was going to republish our very first mobile interview utilizing this remote system, but it itself had some sound problems. It inspired me to realize, Charles, there was one component of that huge system that was spread out on the counter there on the Highline. There was one aspect of that that I have not been able to reproduce in our mobile walks, and that was having live input from the news on the internet while we walk around, and I have added that today.
How'd you do that?
Well, I mean, that's the Colonel's secret recipe, Charles, but for instance, we could now talk about how the parade shooting suspect is being held without bail and his gun purchase is being scrutinized. The New York Times is reporting about this kid. What's his name?
Crimeo or
Crim the Third or something?
Yeah.
What do you think about
another
that?
tragic tale. I mean, honestly, whenever we get the instant experts in government telling us that the solution to any problem like this is to take away every citizen's gun, and we can't bring up the issue of mental illness. No, that's not something we can study. You know they have an agenda, and it's not to make big cities safer. It's to make citizens more dependent on government. And more fearful of the crime wave that's going to explode the longer we let these nitwits retain control over their keys of office. So
Already explode.
I know.
But that's just it. It's not even just mental illness. It's coming out now that kid had tried to kill his parents or something.
He threatened to kill his whole family. Yeah, and
That's a red flag.
You think?
I think.
And it's the other thing that's really outrageous about this is they always, I remember when the Oklahoma City bombing happened, right away Bill Clinton said it's right-wing extremists. Bill Clinton himself said that. And they spun that immediately, that it's the right-wing extremists who are the violence-prone, who are a threat. And it turns out this guy is a progressive, Antifa type guy. And I don't think we should go straight to politics in thinking about this. We need to understand that as far as Chicago and Highland Park is concerned, Chicago and I believe Highland Park as well in Illinois all have extremely tough gun laws and red flag laws, and none of the laws on the books actually worked to stop this guy.
Right.
Plus the police had interactions with him. Right, and so I think what we have to do is we have to say, listen, these are circumstances that are horrific for the victims, for their families, even for the parents of this miscreant who has not been proven guilty, and he must be treated as innocent until proven guilty. But these kinds of things, regrettably, are going to continue to happen no matter what laws you put on the books, because by definition, criminals and others don't, before they
don't follow the law.
Yeah, they don't go and say, well, I better check and make sure that I'm not in violation of this particular statute. It's like they're stuck on crazy. And it's very clear that this young person I'm not a biologist, otherwise I'd say man.
Right.
It's very clear that he has major issues, and let's not interact with this naked idiot. Possible.
Where is he?
To your right, across the street.
Oh yeah.
I'm afraid if he lights a match, he'll blow up.
No. We actually need to correct something we said the other day, Charles, because I hadn't heard about the story until you told me about this guy who got shot an excessive number of times by the cops. But he was not just delivering food. I saw the body cam footage, and he shot one round at least at the police out the window of his car, and then he got out the passenger side. And started running.
Yeah.
And he had a ski mask on.
Right, but remember the refrain. Jesus, let's go over here.
That lady needs
Serious.
some kind of attention.
There's another one who needs to be reviewed. But I mean, the argument runs from Biden and others who want to take away everybody's guns. Nobody needs a magazine with more than 7 bullets in it, or 9
Except
bullets.
the cops are going to shoot
Right, and
90 times.
Well, and granted, there are quite a few of them. There are quite a few cops firing,
Yeah.
and we weren't there. We weren't in the moment. But it's clear that in the case of the guy who got killed with 70 shots, in the case of this kid who was able to...
60.
Huh?
I believe 90 fired, 60 hit.
This kid who killed 7 people, or you?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought you were talking about the other guy.
Yeah. It's very clear that something is badly wrong. And then when we have, I think we need to stop the practice of interrupting regularly scheduled newscasts for every one of these, and then having, as they did out in Highland Park, they had this podium with like 10 or 12 or 15 people behind taking credit for all the collaboration of law enforcement working. Well, 7 people are dead. There's nothing to take credit for here. I mean, it could have been more than 7, I suppose, but we really don't need to tell people who are on the edge, who are craving perhaps attention, that all they need to do is do something crazy like this, and they
You'll
won't
have a whole press conference dedicated to you.
for 45 minutes, or longer. And Jesus, look at this guy passed out over here. And
Just napping.
it's like 3:15, right?
Well, he's had a
What
hard
is this,
day.
Mexico?
You wake up
siesta?
selling drugs. Oh, that's the other thing. So we got to talk about Alex Berenson getting reinstated on Twitter, but I did not realize, I didn't know that much about Alex Berenson. I guess he's very anti-weed, and he's been focusing on the fact that this guy, Klim III, whatever his name is, was a marijuana smoker.
We want to go that way.
And they're claiming that he was suffering from cannabis-induced psychosis.
Which one? Who was suffering?
Well, Alex Berenson is saying that the kid who shot up Highland Park is a heavy marijuana user who was suffering from cannabis-induced psychosis, which is one of these things that the first time I heard that was when Susan Holmes told me that her son attacked the police with a hunting knife because he was experiencing, according to her, cannabis-induced psychosis.
Right.
And I said to myself, without saying it out loud to her, that's not a real thing. Your son is just mentally ill and wants to commit suicide, probably because he lives with you and you made him crazy. At least that's what he said to the police right before they shot him. And he charged at the police with a knife in the air like he's about to stab him. And just a little public service announcement, the rule for the police is that when you get in within 21 feet of them with a knife, they're going to shoot you dead. So I don't think cannabis-induced psychosis is a real thing. Yeah. But I mean, again, it's like we see all of the things being done to increase the proliferation of weed around town.
Right.
And without the cops or the city, stepping in to make sure any of it is regulated, while they're now talking about cannabis-induced psychosis, it just feels like they're planning the next thing.
Right. So before we get too much further down the pike, don't we need to compliment the art department? And
Oh yes, thank you. I forgot. I did prepare a little video
you're
to take
always
people
dissing
through.
the art department. I don't know why you do that. These are
Well, you
loyal
know,
people who
Charles,
work hard
the
for
new
you.
movie is Thor: Love and Thunder. So we've got Dumb Joe with Hate and Blunder, and you know the premise of this new Thor movie is that Natalie Portman becomes Thor, because I think anybody who gets the hammer, you have to. The hammer is somehow magical, and if you are worthy to lift it up, then you become Thor. So I don't think it's going to be Hillary, but I put her in there because we had. I don't know, somebody on the news telling Hillary Clinton she should run for president.
Doug Schoen, the pollster, the Clinton with Mark Penn.
And she was like,
What? Yeah, there you have it.
Thor being advertised right there.
Tina Snow. Who is Tina Snow?
I don't really know, but something's happening on Twitter with her. And you know, our last week's selection, these people are just going right through a red light. You're not supposed to drive when the light is red. Go back to Newark. What are you making faces at, stupid? The Minions movie, it kicked ass. It made $1 billion, and now I think Thor is going to do that as well.
Well, so didn't you say you had a poster? I mean, a vignette on the poster or something?
Oh, I just showed it.
Oh, you did? Okay. I have.
But we should also talk about Boris Johnson is having a crappy day. He's about to get kicked out, it seems.
Well, I think, you know, it's been a while since I've been over to the UK, but it's we have to remember that the UK is far to the left. I mean, the average UK person is far to the left of the average US person. There's a reason we fought a revolution back in 1776, and these idiots over in the UK who are going to look down at us because our Supreme Court makes a decision thinking through our legal tradition about how to handle a very contentious issue, abortion at any time. We don't need no freaking lectures from Boris Johnson or anybody else outside the country about how our legal tradition is at variance, you know, with the developed world, when in fact, Biden tried that. I mean, Joe Biden at this point, you have to just be brutal and frank with an idiot. You can't just, you can't listen to this crap and say, I'm going to devote 2 minutes of my time to listening to you get up there as he did. You know, it's an unfortunate legal decision. It's not the end, because I was in the bottom of my class in law school and I understand nothing about how the law works. And then say that now America's legal posture on abortion is out of step with the developed world, when it is far more liberal. No, it's far more liberal than the developed world.
Right.
Right now, after the ruling.
But I mean, who cares if our laws don't match the rest of the world? That's not the measure. And by the way, did you like it that they had to be like, say goodnight, Joe? And he's like, goodnight, Joe. And then, or no, God bless America. He forgot to say God bless America.
On Independence Day, he said, God protect our troops. And then he stood behind his wife and gave her hair a big sniff.
Well, first she whispered in his ear, God bless America, and you could hear her say it. So then he just stuck the microphone in her face and she said, God bless America. I missed the sniff.
Yeah.
But I
mean, you just really need to say, I mean, anybody who continues to serve in that cabinet is a moron. I mean, if you have any self-respect.
I thought that was the qualification to get hired.
Right, and the vice president, the distinguished former girlfriend of Willie Brown, the married Willie Brown.
Right.
Went down to, I think Highland Park or somewhere, and uttered another word salad where she kept using the word seriously. Seriously, we need to take this seriously now. It's a serious thing that we should take seriously.
Like no one's taking a shooting seriously.
Well, no one takes her seriously. I mean, the president of Guatemala is saying, look, you know, what the hell are you doing here on the immigration issue? And, you know, last time I checked, you know, I don't think Barack Obama got up with, you know, waltzed into the Oval Office. Wait a second. Jesus. Waltzed in the crack of 10:30 in the morning and said, get me the president of Guatemala on the phone. I got to figure out what our foreign policy objectives should be. I mean, we're being dissed by a tiny country and it's obvious that you're a monumental fuck up. Your staff is leaving, you know, and you're going to give another word salad having gone down to Louisiana and had that banner that says Louisiana.
That's the best. That's the new assistant. They hired Anna,
Right.
and she's Louisiana. Do you want to hear the next thing that's likely to make you irate, Charles?
What's that?
Well, Biden and Harris spoke with Brittany Griner's wife,
Oh, God.
the basketball player who's in jail, and they're like, oh, this is a political this and that. No, it's not. This is what you get put in jail for in Russia, 14 years if you have weed. So don't bring weed to Russia if you don't want to go to jail. I am irritated by the fact that the President of the United States, I mean, what about all the other people who have been in jail in the United States for weed possession, where now it's legal in most states? There are people who spent 20 years in jail in the United States for weed.
Or what about Kamala Harris as Attorney General in California, where she vigorously enforced the marijuana laws? I think this, you know, maybe this will come back and bite me in the ass, but you do something wrong, you know, you get convicted in a court of law, you ask for leniency, you hope you get it, you serve your time, and you don't fuck up again. But you don't get on a plane to Russia and say, you know, why don't I, how much weed can I bring into this country? None. Well,
But
okay.
also, don't you think she's hurting herself by saying, oh, Biden, help me, and Putin's going to be like, F you, Biden, this person broke the law, we're not going to...
Well, I love the fact that Biden didn't call, Putin didn't call Biden to congratulate him on the 4th of July.
4th of July, yeah.
That's
and
hilarious.
he even made a comment and said that it would be disingenuous to do that given the political climate.
I think it's hilarious, frankly.
But I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, so I mean, as you like to say, you get to a certain point, listen to me, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Let
got
me tell
no,
you something.
you got no fucking credibility. I mean, everything the guy says on a major issue is a lie. I mean, Friday, I think we have unemployment figures coming out.
Let's
Cross, the market, you know, the market is suggesting that we're on very thin ice. The economic rebound is not doing so well. Here's another Ray's Pizza. How can they all be the original Ray's
because
Pizza?
at one time, remember that show? There was some popular news show. I forget the name of it right now, but they had the best pizza in New York competition, and the one on 11th, that's now your Chinese restaurant, that won.
That was good, that place.
Yep. Except that the owner forgot to, you know, trademark the name Ray's Pizza, so then every single pizza place changed its name to Ray's Pizza, so that people who would come to New York would be like, oh, Ray's Pizza, that one best pizza in New York, and go buy any Ray's Pizza.
Right. So the other is just any old Ray's Pizza. That's the famous original one.
What was that show called?
Oh, I don't remember.
Magazine, news show. I don't know.
Yeah, look at this place. Closed for maintenance, I'll say. See the garbage bags? It's always like a strong move to have garbage inside an unair conditioned store in the summer.
Maybe they have the mint flavor. And then here's a weed store right next door. Oh, one of the customers waiting.
No, they're late for the Biden cabinet meeting, along with this guy.
He's like became activated the second we walked past. Oh, he's unhappy with the commentary, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah. Not my, yeah, this is that, this was a great deli.
Oh, Ben Nash?
Is that it?
But is it closed?
Sure looks like it.
It
Locked.
looks closed as hell. Wow, this was a big deal, this place.
I remember, and they would charge like very high rates of,
Yeah.
like, you know, $22 for a sandwich or something.
But it would have like 4 pounds of meat in it.
Yeah. So who can eat
Sort of
4
a
pounds of
useless.
meat?
You got to be a fresser,
A what?
some sort of a hog.
Oh,
I don't know. All right, so part of the reason why I wanted to reestablish this mobile news discussion ability was because we were frequently kind of running out of remembering the topics that we wanted to discuss. So I figured this is a way,
Good reminder.
well, a good reminder, and also gives people something to look at while we're talking about it. A lot of news in Zero Hedge. So
Well, there's one story about the I think very senior, maybe Attorney General or something in Illinois. It's just been
Arizona.
No, Illinois, Madigan has just been indicted.
Oh, indicted. Wow.
Yeah, and
For
this
what?
is well. I mean, Illinois is just a notoriously corrupt place. I sent the link. Maybe he's not the Attorney General. Maybe he's the Speaker of the House or something in Illinois. But he was a very powerful guy from a powerful family, dynastic political family, who in theory was untouchable, and he's now been touched. And I tweeted out, why did the Clinton Foundation hire an idiot, Scott Kern, if you remember who he is, an august graduate of the
Yes.
Bill Clinton School of Public Service?
I think he knows Jonathan Safran.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was teaching Jonathan Safran. So why did the Clinton Foundation decide that they needed to have a satellite legal office in Chicago, Illinois?
This is the powerful ex-Illinois House Speaker is indicted on
Right.
federal charges.
Right.
See,
But
look
I
at
think
that. We
he's
have news at
also,
our
I think there's
fingertips.
a Lisa Madigan, I think was his daughter, who was the Attorney General, I think. But it tells me that what may be going on here is that Obama and his people are moving, that's pathetic, are moving to try to clean, to
Clear the field.
clear the field, exactly. And Hillary cackling on air, that's their standard approach. Michelle will do a little bit of the same thing. Now that we see the program is, you don't have to run for president. You just go to a few car dealerships and pay people to stand out and you utter banalities.
Give out some free Jeeps.
Yeah, and meanwhile you can hang out one of your mansions, and then you wait for coronation night, then you move back into the White House, and you get everybody else to do all the work and start readying up your post-presidency.
There's the grip truck, Charles.
Your grip truck?
Not my grip truck. Those guys' grip truck.
And there's the fake COVID testing place. So
Could be real.
it would seem that that's what they're doing. They're trying to sweep out competing factions of Democrats.
Well, I'm not surprised, are you?
No. But I think Michelle has a credible shot. Hillary's, there's no way.
But they do seem to be pushing her.
Hillary?
Right.
Wow, look at this place. Inside equipment. That's a
That
lot
might
of
be
stuff.
the generator. Got a lot of fuel in there.
A lot of garbage out here. But why would you need so much stuff?
Well, they're making a movie. It actually just looks like another grip truck. Here's the Petrosian Boutique, Charles.
Yeah, that used to be, the restaurant used to be here. And it still is. Boy, this place seems to be out.
Boy, this is difficult to do while walking around. Let's see what the news has to say. Oh boy, Newsweek. News, WEAK,
Okay.
is saying that Hillary Clinton is best bet for Democrats in 2024, political analyst
That's
says.
Doug Schoen.
Well,
That's Doug Schoen who said that, yeah.
so what do people think about that guy?
I mean, if that's their best bet, you can just assume they're going to lose bigly. I mean,
isn't it just going to be obvious if she runs against Trump? She already lost. Why would you try that again?
it's not credible.
Yeah, Douglas Schoen said Hillary Clinton should run for president in 2000. Who cares what that guy says?
Well, he's quite influential, and it's interesting that he was very negative on Hillary. And after, he's skeptical in 15 and 16, but very negative after she lost.
And a horse head appeared in his bed.
Yeah. And of course, he's former business partner of Mark Penn. And I think Mark Penn's firm was stiffed by Hillary's campaign. Maybe an 8, but
He's a lawyer?
both of them. Schoen went to Harvard Law School. I don't know about Penn. They're pollsters. Maybe we'll go into Mark and.
So, I mean, that's just sort of another word for political operative, apparently.
Well, no, they do very scientific polling. Good polling. And Mark Penn is.
Charles, this is the real deal.
Yeah, obviously. But Penn and Schoen, I think, were a couple years ahead of me at Horace Mann. And they both went to Harvard College, and then Schoen went to Harvard Law School. I don't know if Penn did too. But at Horace Mann, they were both standout students. I mean, really top of the class kind of students.
I just want to walk. Thanks.
This is a great spot to
Yeah.
take in all the diesel fumes from the soft serve ice cream. It's terrible.
Nice smell, though.
Why don't they have electric outlets for each of these carts so that when you get a license from the city to sell hot dogs or ice cream or whatever they're doing, you don't have to burn a diesel generator right there?
Because that would make sense.
I mean, there's a lot of ways we could modernize this city to save money, reduce crime. I mean, we wouldn't have to spend any more money. We would just increase the efficiency. That's actually something I wanted to talk to you about, Charles. I was watching a video. You know, people are like, oh, you know, Jason is really concerned with Elon Musk. I mean, the fact is, he's the only person, even the president of the United States, failed to call out Twitter in the way that he has.
Trump, you mean, failed.
Correct. And there's a lot of really strange questions about what is going on with the Twitter deal and other stuff that's happening to Elon Musk. There, yesterday was an announcement that, what is it called, PBY? Some Chinese car company that Warren Buffett invested in just yesterday, according to whatever, is now the largest producer of electric vehicles, even though they haven't sold any in the United States yet. And so I was looking into that and looking at a lot of Tesla information. And, you know, the thing that is really admirable about Tesla and Elon Musk's approach, he is absolutely a practitioner of Kaizen, which you and I are involved in today by adding this new news on the wrist.
I, as just a
You're more of a passive
Exactly.
participant in the Kaizen, but I really respect that. The constant, no matter how good what you're doing is, constantly looking for ways to make it more efficient, better, more.
So what's the opposite of that, Joe Biden? What do you call that?
But the point I'm getting at is, so Tesla's now released some new innovation in their cars where it's called the structural battery or something like that. And they've gone down in there and they've said, okay, look, you know, we've got the battery pack and then there's all these things that hold the batteries and whatever. And they have engineered it in such a way that they've eliminated something like 50% of the parts by having the things that hold the batteries also be structural parts of the car. And it's really dramatically increasing the efficiency of the cars. And that's the thing, this constant pursuit of improvement in a systematic way, it's the only thing. It's like, it reminds me of when I was building the 3D camera, and then when we were building the helicopter, that was even more like what they're doing now, because the problem with battery-powered vehicles right now is that you would think, oh, well, just add more batteries and the thing will have more range, but no. Because you add more weight and you get to this point where adding more batteries adds more weight and you don't get any more range. So you have to really delve into this efficiency and be very, very diligent about doing that. And you can make breakthroughs, but it's not by government mandate and stupid people.
And teach-ins.
Right, you really have to be on top of what you're doing and just constantly trying harder. And it's not, well, I want to work from home and I deserve $30 an hour to do a crappy job. And that's never going to get us anywhere. I mean, this guy's talking about going to Mars. You're not going to get a medal for second place on that.
Yeah, well, it's just distressing to see how badly the Biden administration is screwing up.
Yeah,
Everything they touch turns to the brown stuff.
it's terrible. And now he's upset that people are, you know, saying you shouldn't run.
shouldn't run for office.
in 24.
Well, apparently he's now taken to berating his staff whenever he has negative press or whatever. He starts yelling at his staff, which is the last thing you do to inspire confidence. I mean, the buck stops with you. It's his policies and his performance that are both so horrible.
So there's been a lot of people talking about this voicemail message about Hunter Biden. You know, he's like, hey, Hunter, just leaving some digital evidence here. Nobody will ever hear this voicemail where I'm talking about your Chinese deal in the New York Times. You should be fine.
Yeah, it's obviously Russian disinformation.
Right. And then Peter Doocy asked Karine
Saint-Pierre.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, we're not going to talk about alleged items from the laptop.
Yes, you are.
No, she said you have to go talk to Hunter Biden's representative, who is that, fancy $900 million South Park lawyer. But she wasn't asking about Hunter Biden. She was asking about, he was asking her about Joe Biden. And she was like, no, I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think Trump ever got that latitude as president, right? It was, he'd have a press conference to talk about one thing and Jim Acosta would start yelling a whole bunch of other questions and people would gang tackle him and Trump would cheerfully, or aggressively I should say, attempt to answer questions, and that nothing was ever good enough for the press corps and Trump would keep going and going and going.
Whereas, how come Jim Acosta's not in there asking Biden stupid questions?
I think we know the answer to that question. But I honestly believe that the folks who are controlling the Democrat Party, or Demon Rat Party, have seen the polls, and I got a message from an political insider type, said there's some new Monmouth poll, which is monumentally bad.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to bring up, but it gave me an ad here.
For Democrats. And I think the power brokers who need the no-bid contracts and need to make sure that they control prosecutorial discretion, these people are getting terrified of what's coming in 2023. So, but there's no good solution. You can't have Eric Swalwell bring Fang into the White House. That's not going to happen. Adam Shifty Schiff could never get elected.
I think this is the Monmouth poll. Biden disapproval at 58%.
That's high.
Disapproval.
I know.
And then also 88% of Americans say the United States is on the wrong track.
Tends not to be the strongest
We're
argument.
laying down on the tracks and the train is coming.
I know, it tends not to be a very strong argument for re-election. 88% of the country thinks we're on the wrong track. Give us more Biden.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, people can watch the show, Charles, on rumble.com. You got to search for CS The Truth. And also on odyssey.com, Crowdsource The Truth. We're doing a live stream simulcast on Telegram, Getter. I just saw Getter done. Getter sent me an email today. They've just added a direct messaging feature. I think it's way ahead of the Trump Truth Social. There's a criminal investigation going on of what is it called? The SPAC?
Yeah, Special Purpose Acquisition Corporation. But this is so far away from success. Even idiots who populate the Biden and Harris staff have to understand that nobody is taking the Biden-Harris administration seriously, whether inside or outside this country. You have an obvious open border on the south.
Oh yeah, that's really
And
bad.
Mayorkas over the weekend, the Secretary of Homeland Security, says, no, we're doing a great job on the southern border.
Texas and I think Arizona declared it an invasion.
Right.
And then the Attorney General of Arizona, what did he announce? I saw something from him earlier.
Don't know. Whew. It's oppressively hot.
Well, you're sort of wearing a lot of stuff. It's actually not that bad today. I'm using passive cooling. Let's see what we've got here with the Arizona Attorney General. He filed, what did he do?
Announced a state of emergency or something.
That's what I thought I heard. They're talking about how state abortion law will go into effect in 90 days. Oh, the Biden administration had sued Arizona over a law.
Voter law.
He's suing them is what's happening.
That's the Department of Justice, yeah, to argue that Arizona is outrageous to ask for ID, voter ID.
Right, that's what it was. So they're saying Arizona passed a law that said that you have to prove that you're a citizen in order to vote, and now Merrick Garland says, oh no, that's unfair. How the hell did they get to that? I mean, it's for the people, by the people, but the people of this country, not any old person who comes along and decides
Details.
they want to vote.
You know, I hope actually that somebody, you know, a group of illegal aliens decide they're going to occupy Merrick Garland's house and want to see how he feels about illegal aliens. If that
I bet you
happens.
there's guns going to come to that to shoot the people. This is a great statue.
Yeah, who is this by again?
Diane, I guess
She's the
they didn't
famous-
like Boeing.
Diane.
Scrutinize reality closely enough,
She was a famous photographer.
it becomes fantastic.
Let's go. Stay in the shade. Yeah.
Here's the Strand Annex.
It's been here for a while.
It's a strange thing. Wow, that guy just drove by really close by me.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'm telling you, Charles, almost all of these guys, we're on a knife's edge as far as, we got a motorcycle on the sidewalk. That dog's got the right idea. You cannot ride motorcycles on the damn sidewalk.
I know.
I wish that dog were larger and could attack that person.
Yeah.
And then what's this? You got the park driving.
They can do that, but
Yeah, but they shouldn't.
Smokey Bear or what?
Just driving around trash. Well, what else is on your mind, Charles? Should we go into the park?
No, let's stay in the shade right here.
Sure.
It's going to be sunny in there. Idiot.
Man, every single moron is trying to kill us.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something about.
Sorry?
It's so difficult to deal with. Okay, here's something about Kamala.
Kamala word salad Harris.
She's mercilessly mocked after delivering a lengthy talk in front of a backdrop with an embarrassing error. Oh yeah, that's the thing about Louisiana. It is embarrassing, that error. I mean, it just shows the incompetence of the whole thing.
Well, how could you not notice that? I mean, how could the advanced people be so clueless?
Legal experts are weighing in on if the parents of the alleged gunman could face charges.
Could be.
I mean, I don't know. Do we have laws that say if
Well,
the
he's
kid's over
20.
18, yeah, how could the parents face charges? I mean, it's common sense that the parents should be the first line of knowing when the son is crazy and if he tries to kill you.
But did the parents participate in getting the guns, or?
I don't know any of those details. I'm just saying, you know, they're trying to make this about nobody should have guns, and I think this is an issue of people need to take responsibility for what's going on, whether it's the parents or the cops or whatever. People knew about this guy being involved in serious, you know, threats of violence and trying to execute violence. I don't understand why they had to wait. I mean, I've been to the cops raising their attention on matters that should be dealt with, in my opinion, and they're just waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, what are they waiting for? Something terrible to happen?
I don't think they want to do anything. You open a file.
Correct.
You're creating paperwork. You've got to write reports. You got to follow up. So they like to not open a file.
It's way easier to just text.
Right. Expensive real estate here, Jason.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe not for much longer.
Here's the park admin building.
Oh, this thing?
On 60.
It's an armory.
I think it used to be the main administration building. I don't know if it still is.
You could take tours of it.
I mean, it's probably asbestos filled, woefully inefficient office space for too many bureaucrats not doing much but charging the city a lot.
Charles, RT is reporting that Russia claims to have destroyed American HIMARS missiles in Ukraine. Ukraine has lost powerful tools provided by Washington, Moscow claims.
Yeah, I mean, this idea that we should amp up another war, this time directly against Russia, with no House debate, no public debate, and that you're a traitor if you in any way question what, Joe Biden, who has to be the world's worst, America's worst commander-in-chief, by far.
In history.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he may as well be working for China and Ukraine,
Yep.
You want a falafel sandwich?
Somebody said something that Joe Biden has just lifted Trump
Tariffs with China.
from China. Why did he do that?
Yeah, he's got to justify. Hunter's got to justify the money that he took from China, so you got to give
Well,
in.
what is his stated purpose for doing that?
I don't know.
Oh,
Does he
man.
need a good reason? He's just a moron.
Well, I don't think that's the reason that he used.
I'm going to propose we just sit here for a few minutes.
Sure.
I need to catch my breath a little bit. I'm not.
I think you might be wearing too much clothing for it's because the thing is,
Well, I think it's also nice to just sit and.
yeah, it's
look.
hotter than you initially realize because it's humid.
Exactly.
So
gonna
what is
be-
this right here?
That's Temple Emmanuel.
Oh. All right, well, so this gives us an opportunity perhaps to discuss the news a bit. Let's see.
Yeah, Temple Emmanuel, I think, is one of the richest temples
Congregations around.
in New York. Yeah, maybe in the United States. Very, very wealthy.
So a lot of people talking about this face tattooed. I mean, how many tattoos does somebody need to have on their face before you personally would say to yourself, something's wrong with this guy?
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that just having a tattoo on your face is reason to deny a person their rights, but I mean, if this guy had tried to kill his parents, what is he doing outside of a mental institution?
I don't know. Why? I mean, was he abused as a child? I mean, what?
Well, I don't know, but I'm not necessarily interested in diagnosing the guy. I'm just sort of wondering why the hell they never take any action. I mean, it seems like every single one of these cases, we hear about all of these failures that should have stopped it. Oh, and now they're saying that there was a second plot
In New York. Yeah.
that this guy had.
This guy
Been revealed. He dressed up as a,
is a woman.
yeah. So Robert E. Bobby Cremo III allegedly had another rifle and approximately 60 rounds on him when he fled Highland Park after
And
allegedly.
handguns.
Yeah, so I mean, the issue is not stopping people from getting guns. The issue is why aren't we doing anything when people make police complaints about crazy people who could be stopped before they do any violence?
Right, and there are plenty. I'm amazed that we had the problem here in New York a couple of years ago, I think, with some crazy person on the west side mowing people down in an SUV. Remember the
Oh yeah.
So
he was
cars,
like an Al-Qaeda terrorist or something.
I know, but cars are dangerous too. I mean, you could.
Right, that's the thing. It's not just about guns. It's about when you report a crazy person to the police a billion times, they should do something rather than allow that crazy person to fester and create more problems. I can't say if that crazy person is a homicidal maniac, but he's obviously crazy. And why should we wait until these crazy people do something extremely bad?
No.
The cops, it's not just the cops, Charles. So many people are so concerned with, well, I can't help you for this reason, we're not going to be able to do it for that reason. Yeah, that guy's on the...
Unicycle.
He just went by really fast. I don't mind that as much because he's in the street, and if there's an accident, he'll be crushed by a car. As long as he keeps it off the sidewalk, I'm not that bothered by it.
Go ahead.
Kind of a cool summer.
Yeah, definitely, because of global warming. Obviously.
Right.
Do you see that Medvedev, the Biden administration is making noises, bleeding, that they're going to bring Russia before the International Criminal Court for what's going on in Ukraine? And Medvedev is saying, don't go there. Because if you go there, we're going to start by going into America's early history. How did the indigenous peoples of America do? And how many crises do you want to talk about?
What if Russia started sending missiles to Native American reserves,
right, and
saying, you know what, you should start exacting revenge. Here's a sophisticated missile battery.
Right.
Go launch it at Washington, D.C.
Right.
That's what they should do.
Or contact, Elizabeth Seminole Warren. Give her.
Right.
What was she, a Seminole or a Chickasaw, or what was she?
An imbecile.
Oh, that's for sure. But what Indian heritage was she trying to
No
claim?
idea.
Cigar store?
Yes. Let's say Elizabeth Warren. What tribe? I wonder if that'll... So here's the facts on Elizabeth Warren's DNA test.
Brutal.
This is from 2018. 2 weeks ago, Senator Elizabeth Warren released the results of her genetic test showing that she is an imbecile. No. Small but detectable amount of Native American DNA, including President Donald Trump said she doesn't have any Indian blood. I mean, this is just like an idiotic argument right here. Pocahontas, he called her. I don't know if it says what Indian heritage turned out to be a scam and a lie. I don't know. They're all upset about Trump.
I think in the case of Pocahontas, her ancestors were actually involved on the wrong side of the Trail of Tears, I believe, where the settlers, they would say in retaliation for some Native American outrage, went and committed atrocities against Native Americans, supposedly in retaliation. I think her ancestors
did that,
yeah.
Wow.
Well, again, you got to be super careful with that, because if you go back 6 generations, you're talking, or however many it would take to get back that far for her, you're talking about a lot of people.
Right. I mean, how do you blame the great-great-great-grandchild of somebody?
Do what you want, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way it works, right? If we're in the grievance industry, you can claim that somebody 6 generations ago did something bad to your ancestors, and so their descendants should pay you back in 2022.
It's never ending, though, if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's a Tesla taxi, Charles.
Impressive.
I've seen more and more of those.
Do you think Bill Clinton has that on his house in Chappaqua? Wasn't he?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Wasn't he carrying on with some neighbor in Chappaqua?
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was.
Oh my God, that guy just never learns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we still have not gotten any straight answer on this fire hose from Twitter. This is the weirdest acquisition you've ever seen in your entire career.
I don't understand why Musk wants it at this stage. It's tired merchandise. The employees hate him.
It's got nothing to do with the product. He wants to get the dishonesty out of it, and they're hating that.
But isn't it at this stage pretty
Damaged
discredited.
goods?
Yeah, pretty discredited, isn't it?
I think it is, but I mean, I think that was his purpose. Oh yeah, so this was the other thing. So everybody is pissed off. Elon Musk put out a tweet or made some sort of a comment that he says that Twitter has gone too far by banning Jordan Peterson for, so it says Elon Musk finally said his piece on the Elliot Page versus Jordan Peterson war. It's more like Jordan Peterson versus Page. Twitter just did to Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin. So Dave Rubin got kicked off of Twitter for tweeting about Jordan Peterson getting kicked off of Twitter.
I just think this whole idea that you can get anything because you're outraged at what somebody else did or said. I mean, if it's criminal, that's one thing. But if somebody has an opinion that is controversial, what the hell? It is controversial.
What was that sound?
There's a tire going over the curb, I think. The purpose of the First Amendment was actually to protect controversial speech.
They hate it now.
Well, when you go after controversial speech, you end up with homogenous lunacy and idiocy. I mean, you want people change society for the better by pointing out when the status quo is making errors, when you're getting too comfortable in your self-deceit. And so this group, there's always a cottage industry of people who get attention by being outraged over something somebody else said or did. That would be MSNBC, that would be CNN, that would be corporate-owned media. And what passes for, analysis, emphasis on the anal.
Speaking of anal, the New York Times was covering Nina Jankowicz again.
Oh yeah, she gave an interview, and
well, I mean, this was amazing. I was looking at her Twitter. So the New York Times has a thing. It's either today or yesterday that says disinformation has become another untouchable problem in Washington D.C. Numerous federal agencies agree that widely promoted falsehoods threaten the nation's security. Doing something about it is another problem. And then it's got a picture. This girl has got such a sour puss every time you look at her. She's just like, I mean, let's just put on a shirt that says, I'm a bitch. But this whole article is going on and on about Nina Jankowicz and how Mayorkas is saying all kinds of stupid crap. So then somebody said something to her on Twitter and she's like, oh, that article's not about me. Did you read it? But yet, I mean, here she's mentioned in the damn thing all over the place. And it's got a picture of her at the top. I don't know. It's a little bit of disinformation for her to say this article is not about her. She's out of her mind, Charles.
I know. And again, this whole idea that we need anybody to tell isn't disinformation. It's up for individuals and groups of individuals. Make up your own mind.
Something weird just happened.
What's that?
Somebody called this phone.
That's weird.
Yeah, did people hear that? It just cut off in my ears and there was a phone call on here that I hung up on. But this is not I don't even know the phone number for this phone and I've never given it to
Probably Nina
anybody.
Jankowicz calling you.
How did... That's weird. That's very weird, Charles.
Men and women in black on your left there.
This is our future coming right down the street here.
PhDs
They should
from
send them
MIT.
to Ukraine.
Smoking.
Oh wow, it's too bad we don't have 3D going right now. Those bubbles were awesome. Is that little girl making the bubbles?
I
Those
guess.
bubbles, I looked up and I was in a sea of bubbles. But that article about disinformation, Charles, again, it says that they disagree that falsehoods are bad and we need to do something about it, but they never get to the part where they determine how any particular thing is false.
Again, it's a department. We have no use for this department. mean, if you're going to start talking about falsehoods, you should talk about the Biden arguments about economic progress under the Biden administration. They're all wrong. Right? I mean, this whole narrative that the economy's strong and Biden's doing great work and we just don't understand how well we're doing.
You can't speak gibberish.
He does.
That's the issue. People say the stream blipped. Someone had that number before. Oh, well, right, but no, this phone isn't new. I've had it for some time. But that's weird that people, maybe it's just a coincidence. Okay, well, let's take a look at Zero Hedge, Charles, because there's always a bunch of articles on there that refresh our memory of what we want to talk about here. Boy, this is more difficult to operate than people realize. Okay, so Zero Hedge right now is talking about the FOMC
minutes.
What is that? The Fed is worried about entrenched inflation.
As it should be.
Oh, and this was a bad story. San Diego loses 22% of its police force due to the vaccine mandate.
Well, at the same time, you got migrants, illegal migrants streaming across the border near San Diego.
And that's a very affluent area. I think it would be a prime target for criminals.
I think the correct verb tense is was.
Some Marines are asking a court for relief from the COVID-19 vaccine. Don't you think that hurts morale when the Marines feel like the military is doing something that hurts them?
Of course. I mean,
and here's this guy saying that recession is priced in, but stagflation is not. Is that Powell? Jerome Powell?
that is Jay Powell, yeah.
And NATO is saying it doesn't have plans to establish bases in Finland after Putin warned against the buildup. I don't believe them.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you can be sure of, anything coming out of Stoltenberg's mouth, the leader of NATO, is likely false.
Yeah.
And one needs to remember that there's a very long and impossible to police border in the north of Norway, between Norway and Russia. And there also are contested islands.
That was something. Contested islands. Those were uncontested mountains. Here's another jerk on the sidewalk.
Yeah, why can't that idiot go on the street?
Why can't we just enforce the law in any regard? We got a bunch of fat idiots riding bicycles on the sidewalk right here.
Father and son.
I think that was a daughter.
Oh, so you're a biologist.
I'm becoming a biologist. Yeah, so basically Jordan Peterson, he stated his opinion about Elliot Page, and they didn't like his opinion, so he's scrubbed from the internet. I don't know, maybe we'll see what Elon Musk will do about this. There's nothing he can do right now. He's just an investor in Twitter.
He's not even he's a passive investor in the stock. He hasn't bought.
Yeah, he's just a retail investor really, right?
Right. Well,
a lot of people are talking about recession and depression, and that's not good. So what is it that Jerome Powell, what would you like to see him do? Is there anything that can be done at this point?
Well, I think he waited too long. I mean, the major economies of the world are very weak. So parts of Europe have negative interest rates and are not doing well. The negative interest rate is where you go to try to put money into a bank, and the bank says, okay, we'll take your money, but now you've got to pay us interest.
That's ridiculous. Who would do that? Just put the money under the mattress.
And Japan's economy is crushed.
Oh yeah, I saw a thing that said that Apple is raising the price of iPhone in Japan by like 19%. That's kind of a lot. An iPhone is like $1,000.
Right. And so you have the major economies of the world are all doing poorly. So if you're a big investor and you're trying to figure out where to put money, and you've got negative interest rates in Europe and extremely low in Japan, and America's raising rates, you're going to be putting your money into dollars, which is going to drive the value of the dollar up and give people the artificial sensation that the U.S. economy is doing well when it's not. So,
All right, so you were going to tell me about that. What about the ruble against the dollar?
I mean, the ruble is appreciated phenomenally against the dollar. I don't know where it is now, but it was at the start of the hostilities, I think it was 77 or so, 75 to the dollar. $1 got you 75 rubles. I think now $1 gets you like 50.
Let's see. What
Good check.
Here. All right, so 0.16 United
60.
States dollars is 1 ruble. It's easier if I just make it $1 here.
60.
62. Well, that's not the highest it's been, but it's still pretty darn strong.
Well, it's
against
better
the
than
dollar.
before the special military operation began.
Yeah, it was like 120 or something.
Well, it was actually 70 or so before the special military operation. Then it went up to, the
Besides 120 or 140.
right, and now to be down at 60, you're still pretty strong.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. At least we got storm clouds on the horizon.
I think those are going away, no?
Can't tell what. I think they're headed towards us.
I hope not. Well, all right. Let's see what other news is happening right now. Deadly July 4th parade, frantic rush to escape. So yeah, I mean, they're just on and on about get rid of the guns. What about Boris Johnson? He seems poised to basically get kicked out.
I think that's Boris Bogo. He's gone.
What I mean is that?
I mean, we got to remember that he was the foreign minister during the 2016 election, and he had to know, along with Gina Haspel, the CIA station chief, he had to know what the UK and the CIA were cooking up in promoting the Russian collusion delusion during 16 and afterwards. He had to be aware of that.
Dearlove.
And Sir Richard Dearlove, yeah. So,
Well,
so Jason, I think what I'm going to do, I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded.
too hot?
Yeah, I think I might just want to call an end, and I'm okay.
No
but
problem.
In the abundance of caution,
Do you
I
want to
think
get you water or something?
no, I think I just might sit here and catch my breath, and I'm fine.
All right. So, would you like me to take the microphone and go?
Yeah, if that's okay, maybe.
fine with me.
Yeah, I'm not desperate or anything, but it's a long walk home, and
Take the hat off, you'll release a lot of heat from your head. It's sort of the
so
opposite.
that's
of
an
what
old
you,
wives' tale.
the opposite of what you tell me during the winter.
I know. But I think I'll just sit here.
All right. Well, I'll continue the broadcast on the walk downtown, and thanks.
Sorry to.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. We've got all of the high-tech stuff here. Put that on mute. All right, Charles. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Jason.
Take it easy. Okay. Now I'll probably get a million comments saying, "No, don't leave, Charles." Somebody. Let's see here. Just got to get all this stuff in order. All right, Charles. Take care. Okay. Boy, I have a lot of stuff in my hands. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to run the news and talk and not get killed by maniacs as I walk around alone, but that is a good little Kaizen step, adding yet another phone. So we got the news, the controller. I'm still weighing less than when I used to have the giant sound recorder. That's funny, little kid playing with birds. Oh look, And there's a bird sort of regally perched atop the thing saying, "Go to the zoo." I was just through here the other day, but I do enjoy this section of Central Park, so we'll take a look again. Now, there was a minor effort made to try to enter this arsenal building. Not an armory, an arsenal, that's what I meant. But Charles is red in the face, people say. Get him a city bike. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Charles, he's an adult. If he doesn't want me to get him a water or something, take a taxi. Right, that's what probably Charles will do. Just relax there for a moment and then take a taxi. I mean, I don't know. My advice is, it's like 85. Don't wear a suit. It was like a t-shirt, a cotton shirt. Seersucker pants. I'm wearing shorts. I don't know. It's, summertime. So let's see. What else did we want to talk about? He wore the jacket last summer and it wasn't hot. The thing that's happening today is that it's surprisingly humid and I'm feeling very parched. I don't know why that is. Because when I left the apartment, I said, it's actually not that hot. I didn't have the air conditioner running too high or anything like that. I don't know why. But now being outside, maybe when it's really humid, you're not able to sweat as effectively, or your sweat doesn't evaporate and cool you off I don't know. But I think Charles has it under control. This thing I was talking about with the structural battery of Tesla, that fascinated me because, when we were building the various cameras, getting the weight down was always an issue. The first 3D camera was intended to be handheld, and it had a lot of stuff in there, computers and hard drives and photo sensors, and I forget how much it weighed, but for carrying it around, every pound, you just always wanted it to weigh less. So we're constantly refining the thing, and it's a difficult challenge. And when you're able to come up with clever solutions, that's a Minion ice cream pop that little kid was eating. When you're able to overcome those challenges, it is quite satisfying. And it just made me really feel Tesla's an American company. And I mean, we want them to innovate and be the leader in EVs, but yet there's so many people who seem to want China to succeed at that. And I mean, we discussed this on The Backstory with Lee Stranahan. That's on Sputnik Radio. People can watch High Dive on Saturdays on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. But we were discussing the fact that it seems like they are just doing everything they can. Wow, this guy's got Homer Simpson hostage. They're doing everything they can to just destroy America. I mean, this has got to be deliberate. It's not incompetence, it's not stupidity. It's an infiltration and the total destruction of basically everything. I mean, that's the only reason. If you want to do something with solar energy and battery storage and electric cars, there's really only one person that immediately comes to mind as the person you should talk to if you're the president of the United States, and that's Elon Musk. For no reason other than he's basically created the biggest company. I mean, okay, so this BYD or whatever it is, okay, that makes more, but I don't think it's going to be more innovative. I don't really know that much about BYD. I haven't seen any of the cars. Let's take a look. I think Warren Buffett is invested there. Yeah, driving the future, right? So, I mean, this could be their whole, they make buses, trucks, official sponsor of Mother Nature. Boy, look at this. This is a giant, huge conglomerate type thing. Why do we want to help something like this gain an advantage over American technology companies? All these guys that are going against Tesla and doing all this negative stuff against Elon Musk. So they're apparently building more of these cars than Tesla has built. I don't know. Everything's going to China. Joe Biden is telling entire industries what they should be charging for their products. It's pure stupidity. What makes him even think that he can do that? Let's see what anybody's got going in the comments here. Yeah, wearing a mask in this weather, I agree. It's a big deal. It's, when I got into designing the 3D cameras and particularly the helicopter, you realize that tiny little things can make a big difference. And by a big difference, I mean the difference between working or not. I gained a huge appreciation for that through the development of those two things. And for people who have never been involved in a project trying to develop something or invent something, I don't think they really have a good understanding of how to address those types of challenges. And when I hear stupid people like Joe Biden say things like, make oil cost less, charge less at the pump, it's like, well, gee, Joe, make your presidency suck less. Just hit the don't suck button. Someone is asking me, I don't know if I can even say that without getting banned. As far as I know, Brittany Griner is a woman, but the article that I read earlier said that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had spoken to her wife, and I just presume that meant that she was married to a woman. I'm getting some funny text messages right now. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one way or the other. I had never heard of this Brittany Griner before she got arrested for bringing weed to Russia, which, I mean, just on its face, you don't have to be that smart to know that's a terrible idea.
Not contemplated to be long.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's a question being posed to me that I can't really answer here on the live stream. Now, that is a guy suffering from an unfortunate affliction. Let's just see what we got here. Let's focus on the chat for a moment. If anybody has a question, feel free to put that into the chat. These giant jacks, that's kind of fun. Throw those on the street when people try to get into the crosswalk. Oh, right, I can't believe I didn't mention this. Somebody had sent me earlier, well, let me bring it up. Yeah, see, I wanted to talk to Charles about this. But this is maybe outside the realm of stuff. Yeah, so basically somebody sent me this earlier. Maybe there's another terrorist thing, but the Georgia Guidestones, somebody blew it up. Blast has destroyed a large portion of the monument, police say. The Georgia Guidestones have been hit and exploded, I guess. Early morning blast, 4 a.m. I don't know, what do people think about that, blasting the Georgia Guidestones? Isn't that a globalist thing? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really into vandalism and destroying people's stuff, but that's a good target if you need one. Georgia Guidestones. That's the thing that talks about maintaining the population at a level of 500,000 or something like that. So KD is saying it's the New World Order commandments, so to speak. Yeah, I think that's accurate. Oh, there's the rubber Trump. And a sign says, indict Trump now. Let's see if we can speak to the rubber Trump. People will say, oh, you're jaywalking. Okay. Well, the security is definitely a lot less. How is business, rubber Donald Trump? He's negotiating a selfie. So business for the rubber Donald Trump seems down. Things are tough all over, even for the rubber Donald Trump. Now, this has got to be Jackie Kennedy. What is Jackie 1961? And this pearl purse. See, what I like is that I'll just mention that, and then it's very likely that somebody will, in the comments or later today, say, oh, that is the 1961 version of whatever. So Bill is talking about the Canadian trucker convoy. I think that must be conversation in reference to the Netherlands farmer protest. We were also talking about that on Lee's radio show. And people can listen to that on Sputnik Radio. Google Sputnik News, Lee Stranahan. And so these farmers are pissed off that the government basically just said farm less because there's no... Oh man, Politico is reporting that police are firing on the Dutch farmers. That sounds pretty bad. Police fire on Dutch farmers protesting environmental rules. Isn't that little girl Dutch? What's her name? What is that little, Oh no, she's Swedish. What the hell is that girl's name? Better be careful, your shoe is untied.
I know, thank you.
Those are some killer looking shoes. Oh, here's the Rolls-Royce SUV. Does it have a police badge on it? Let's step away from the farmers for a second. What is this? It's the cops? Member, Fraternal Order of Police. That's pretty good that you get a Rolls-Royce SUV with your membership. I guess I was looking at the Dutch farmer attack article, but there was a girl walking with some like high-heeled Doc Martens that were untied. But back to the Dutch farmer situation. The farmers have blocked supermarkets, distribution centers, and roads. Police fire on Dutch farmers. I don't know, that doesn't sound good. Dutch police fired shots at tractor riding farmers who were protesting against plans to cut nitrogen emissions on Tuesday. So I don't know, I mean, how long can you like shoot at protesting farmers and not let people earn a living before you basically create a total revolution? Here's a giant chrome Bugs Bunny. Do you work here?
I don't.
How much for the chrome Bugs Bunny? I guess if you have to ask, it's too much. Hey, I like that. That's kind of a lenticular, three-dimensional thing. That guy knows I'm not buying anything. Here's Hunter Biden doing artwork. That Bugs Bunny is probably like $100,000, probably more. Who would buy that unless you're Chuck Schultz? And I think he's dead. So shooting at the Dutch farmers. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the police who have that Rolls Royce. It's somebody with a Rolls Royce who probably gave money to the police. Yeah, Greta Thunberg, right, that's it. She's Swedish, not Dutch. But she gets pissed, that little girl. What do we got here? McLaren Experience. This is the Microsoft store. Pretty direct copy of the Apple store. Sort of weak. Yeah, that's the China way. Like, you know, Elon Musk and Tesla do all this innovative stuff and then just come in and copy it and get a sniveling jackass like Warren Buffett to invest in them and do all kinds of underhanded stuff to prevent Tesla and American companies from succeeding while they get into business with crackheads like Hunter Biden and make all kinds of deals for lithium and whatever. Now, Bill is saying NYPD awarded Pfizer with some award. I had not heard about that. Let's take a look. Oh, I forgot to mention to Charles that one of the mayor's aides was mugged at gunpoint. New York City Police Union sues over vaccine mandate. I'm not seeing anything about accused NYC teacher denies buying. City Health Department says mask up. I'm not seeing anything about them giving an award. Let's see. Well, I see that they're suing them as of November 4th. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, Greta hasn't said too much in a while. She's been off the scene. This lady was kicking my feet. She's obviously in a big hurry. Oh man, low battery. Aha, so well, that's interesting to note. So having the news thing on here, that makes sense, uses more battery power to have two phones going. All right, well, so that's another reason to dig into Kaminsky. Bill is saying that NYPD hosted a gala for Pfizer's Borla. That's not good. I could believe it, but it's not good. Yeah, the city is falling apart, and we see it every day. There was a period where I was reluctant to talk about it, but it's so undeniable now. I'm not trying to make anybody depressed, but there comes a time where we have to face facts, and I just don't know what we can do about this. You know, the police don't seem to be able to do anything, and even when we see a situation like this kid trying to kill his parents and getting involved in all kinds of murder plots that they don't find out about until after he's killed people, it just makes me wonder why the hell the police aren't doing anything. I mean, anybody who's listening to this who is a police officer anywhere, you need to be aware that your ineptitude, and I'm talking mostly to the NYPD officers that I have spoken to on the streets of New York here, your inaction and ineptitude are playing a major role in the destruction of this city and the United States itself. That guy just pulled on my wire, and now he's acting like he didn't. It's the first time anybody's done that. Sorry. This lady's like slowing down, not looking where she's going. People don't understand what's going on here in New York. You got millions of people moving around quickly. If you're gonna act like you don't know where you're going or what you're doing, get the hell out of the way. Hey look, we have some new garden action going on here. What is that about? Pretty nice. Wow. Look at this. Little rides for kids. I haven't had that before. See, this is not even the material they had at the Clinton Foundation was even more cushy than that. It is a beautiful day. I think the humidity is what was giving Charles a problem. See, and that could be playing into the battery life as well, the ambient temperature, all that stuff. Sublime. Still love that band. The dude died, I think, from heroin. He's got to stay off drugs, kids. Bradley, what was his name? So let's see, back to the comments here. I hope I'll make it home before the battery dies. Hanging Gardens of Babylon. What was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon all about? I've heard of it, but I don't really know anything about it. Maybe that was a replica. And then I think this is, didn't this used to be the Nintendo store, or is that a subsection of FAO Schwartz? Maybe it's further up here. Got the Rainbow Room over there. Now, NYP is New York Press. So that's, you know, some sort of limo driving around NBC muckety mucks, I guess. Prague wishes the entirety of the Georgia Guidestones was exploded, but we'll take what he can get. Yeah, that's pretty interesting that they blew up the Georgia Guidestones. I wonder who did that. I bet you they will look like hell for that person. Stardash, she's kind of taking a nap. Now, I think we spoke about this the other day, but the other thing that's happening in the world of Elon Musk news is that the Starlink space internet has been given a license from the FCC to have internet service for cars and airplanes and RVs. That's a big deal. They've then spoken about the possibility of spinning off Starlink to be a publicly traded company. Now, if you're a billionaire like Warren Buffett, who is definitely down with Bill Gates, didn't the Ginger Frankenstein say that Warren Buffett is his rabbi? That idiot Patrick Byrne? I was pretty offended by that comment. I mean, that's like literally if I said, yeah, Charles Ortel, he's my N-word. And I'm like, what? That's okay. Why can't I say that? Warren Buffett is not a rabbi and the Ginger Frankenstein is not Jewish. He is an asshole, though. But see, those guys, Warren Buffett, Ginger Frankenstein, Bill Gates, they all seem to be up to no good, and they all seem to be warring with Elon Musk. Buffett invests in that BYD Chinese car company, which yesterday became the largest manufacturer of electric and hybrid vehicles. Bill Gates wants Elon Musk to invest in his stupid philanthropy stuff that we know is all about buying up all the farmland and basically being a monopolist and screwing people. And then Elon Musk kind of makes a jerk out of him on the text, which was great. And Joe Biden is having all these summits about electric vehicles and solar energy, and one of the smartest engineer, entrepreneur, high-tech thinkers in that area, who's right here in America, just paid more tax than anybody else. And they're abusing the guy. Why doesn't Elon Musk just move back to Canada? Or, I'm not saying that he would want to do that, but what a hostile environment to come to the United States. You know, they want immigration, right? Elon Musk immigrated here, and now they're being jerks to him. Why they got to do that? I mean, can all of these immigrants who are coming across the border expect, if they actually achieve success here in the United States, that the president would be an absolute jerk to you? If this president, I think you could. I think it would be hilarious if, what is that? I think it would be hilarious if Hillary Clinton runs for president. Hey, look, here's another Weed World competitor, but it doesn't look like, oh no, it's just Weed World. They've got the Uncle Bud sign, that multicolor animated LED, but it's just a standard Weed World vehicle. So Bill says that Musk and Gates are working together on a myriad of projects. Well, I'd be curious to know what those are. I just say that Charles is my colleague, associate, friend. I don't need to call him my G or my N-word or my rabbi. I was just making the point that that's an idiotic statement for the Ginger Frankenstein to make. I remember one time, the first job I ever had of any importance, I was working for a film company. I won't say the name, because the guy was actually a very nice guy, but this was an ignorant statement that he made. Digital video editing was brand new at the time. And I mean, this had to be like 1991 or 2. And we were going to meet with a company called Avid. That was the industry standard for nonlinear digital editing. And it was incredibly expensive at the time. I mean, you'd laugh if you saw the quality of it today. But as we were walking over there, it was me, because I was the technology guy for this company. The CEO who owned the place, there was only like 5-10 people who worked there, and the president or the CFO or COO, whatever this guy was, like the second in command. And we were the three of us walking right around here over to the Avid office, and the boss said, well, once we get in there, we got to try to Jew him down on the price. And I was standing right there. And the second in command was like, oh yeah, we got to chew him down. And it's like, look, I heard him say it. It's not like I hated the guy after he said that, but it was a pretty dumb thing to say. All right, so I'm getting the low battery warning here. My point is, the outrage, like, I don't care. Say that if you want to say that. I don't think you should be canceled from YouTube or Twitter for saying something like that. It just becomes a component of, you know, I've known that guy. Last time I saw that guy, probably 8 years ago at this point, was in LA, maybe 10 years ago. And I like him, he's a nice guy. But I've come to realize that he's just not that sharp. And when I was 18 or 19 and he said that, I didn't know that at the time, but him saying that was one of the things that educated me as to exactly what that guy is all about. And also that was, you know, 30 years ago. Perhaps he wouldn't say something like that now. So I don't know, all this permanent cancellation of people from Twitter and whatever. Yeah, people are catching on to that Georgia Guidestone story. I think that is pretty cool that somebody blew that up, but you know, they're probably going to stick that person in jail. I think about all the people that haven't gone to jail that should, and all the people that are in jail who should not be. And this Brittany Griner, yeah, listen, I don't think you should go to jail for 15 years for having weed, or 14 years or whatever it is. But I do acknowledge that when you go to a foreign country, you are, you know, you're subject to their laws. And if you break them, you could get into a lot of trouble. It's just really not smart to bring weed to Russia or any country. Unless, I mean, bringing it, look, if it's legal, get it there. And then, I mean, you know, wasn't this girl kneeling, Black Lives Mattering? Like, I don't think they really care about Joe Biden. It's not like, this is just a culture of selfishness and stupidity. You know, this girl doesn't care about the law in Russia. She wants weed. Doesn't care that she's broken the law. I mean, from where I'm sitting, the smartest thing for her to do would be to apologize, say it was the wrong thing to do. You don't want to make a big political deal out of it. Please show me mercy. Look at that. Mach-E Mustang taxi. That's the first one we've seen. Actually, this car just got recalled because there's something wrong that could cause the battery to catch on fire. I'm pretty sure, I heard. Let's just make sure that's correct. But oh boy, he's about to get crashed into by a bus. It's a good looking taxi. Against the light. Mach-E Mustang. Let's see, what was the recall about? It's sometimes hard to find stuff. It's easier typing in the apartment. I guess it's a software. Yeah, e-battery connector. Here it is. Ford rolls out Mustang Mach-E battery contactor recall fix. Yeah, I read last month Ford recalled 48,000 Mustang Mach-E units over battery contactor issues. I'm pretty sure that that was a problem that could have resulted in a fire in the vehicle. So, I mean, I like Ford, but they aren't the most experienced manufacturer of electric vehicles. Nor are they the number one innovator. I think Joe Biden said General Motors was that. But then separately, we saw that whole article about how Obama made that screwy deal of, you know, bailing out GM and doing that kind of backdoor deal where all the GM tech got sold to China. Now we hear China is building more electric cars than the United States, and Warren Buffett is helping that. Why is that good? And why are they so all over Elon Musk about billionaires paying taxes? What about Warren Buffett? So many weird people. I wish this thing was looking forward and this way at all times so people would not miss the craziness. Here's a good old-fashioned gas Mustang. Still good. So it's a race against battery. Whereas it's just a little bit of battery left. All right, well, I don't want it to cut off suddenly. Does it give me a 5% warning? I think it does. We'll wait for 5%. Let's see if there's any other comments. So please subscribe on rumble.com @CSTheTruth. You got to go to rumble.com/user/CSTheTruth. And you can subscribe on Rumble, you can subscribe on Odyssey, people can get on to Getter. I've also been trying to do more with, how's the Super Cruise? I've been trying to do more with Truth Social, Donald Trump's essentially dead on arrival social media network. It's going to become important during the election, particularly if he is on there and not on Twitter. But there is that criminal probe into the SPAC that is supposed to do the reverse merger or the merger or whatever the hell it's doing. Maybe that's just to antagonize Donald Trump, but I have observed activity on Truth Social that is remarkably similar to the shenanigans on Twitter, where they're just, blocking people that they don't like, amplifying people that they do like. I've spoken about how Stephen Biss, Robert David Steele's corrupt attorney, who also represents Devin Nunes, who Donald Trump made a huge mistake by making Nunes the CEO of that thing. I don't think Nunes knows a thing about social media. He knows about suing people from social media, and even that he doesn't know well because all of his lawsuits have failed. And he's been using a lawyer. People who try to say, oh, how many lawsuits have you won, Jason? I mean, that's like asking me how many how many Super Bowl rings I have or something. I'm not a football player, so I haven't won too many lawsuits because I'm not a lawyer. But some of the people involved over there at Truth Social are lawyers, and they don't win lawsuits too often because they seem to be violating the law rather than upholding it. But we'll see what happens with that Truth Social. I'm on there at CS The Truth. I'm mentioning it because if people who watch Crowdsource The Truth are on Truth Social, please follow at CS The Truth and retruth the stuff that I put on there. Social engineers, including the stupid Mario Brothers. Actually, it's mostly the stupid Mario Brothers. They're really trying to destroy Crowdsource The Truth. Everything I do, they want to destroy. I've been speaking about it more lately, but for a long time I didn't talk about it at all. Basically every day these guys are doing something new to try to destroy my work, my business, people's ability to see new videos that I produce. It's really important that people become sponsors on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and also subscribe on those alternate platforms. Rumble, Odyssey, Getter. Where else am I? I guess it's on Twitch, but I don't know, Twitch is a little bit, doesn't really save the videos and stuff. Some of these platforms are just live streaming. I've also been streaming on Telegram, but again, that doesn't save the videos. So, it's better than nothing, I suppose, but it's only marginally useful if people can't go back and look at the videos. It's one of the things I've been lamenting lately is that, there was such an archive of information, and now it's been mostly deleted by all these people filing complaints with YouTube and, deliberately trying to shut down the channel. And it's just, it's a loss to anybody who wants to go back 5 years and kind of learn about what was going on then, see the types of things we were saying. I did post the lost episode of Get Trumpy. People can see that on Subscribestar and Patreon, and also on the Sunday with Charles YouTube channel. There's a lot of people who watch Closing In and Sunday with Charles who have clued in to the Sunday with Charles YouTube channel or subscribed there. But there is also a John Cullen Investigates YouTube channel. There is a David Hawkins Reverse CSI YouTube channel. There is High Dive with Lee Stranahan YouTube channel. Basically all of the co-hosts I created channels for to try to make it as difficult as possible to completely stamp out Crowdsource The Truth. But there's a team of people who are working on doing precisely that every day. I wonder how this phone number was gotten. I don't know what David is talking about there. Yes, thank you, Operation Paperclip. Share, subscribe, all that. Yeah, if you're watching right now and you aren't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up and all that free stuff if you don't want to sponsor the show. There's a lot of people, when I start talking about sponsorship, they say, I don't have any money and I'm proud to not sponsor the show. I want to watch this show but not sponsor it. No. Yeah, barely. Just a lot of rude assholes rolling around New York City and elsewhere. It's really bad. It's really bad for the rude, disgusting, smelly-footed, RV-dwelling loser who's dedicated his life to becoming psychotically obsessed with me and spending all day, every day It's a weird scene. Spending all day, every day trying to shut me down. What a sad, pathetic existence you have. I mean, here I am trying to work with other people, Charles and David Hawkins, John Cullen, Lee Stranahan, John Mark Dugan, all these different guests who come on the show, and people who want to watch the show. So many people send me emails. They enjoy watching the show. Why do you want to take that enjoyment away from people? Is it that you're such a miserable waste of human life? Your own father hated you, made you sleep in the basement on newspaper with dog